I hope everyone's having a wonderful weekend wherever you are. And if you can see me and if you can hear me, do me a favor and smash those likes. I hope you guys are doing well. And once we're coming in and once we know we're live here, we're going to dive into the meat of today's episode. And like I said, if you can hear me, if you can see me, let's go ahead and smash those likes. DeFi is Pandora's box, and in many ways, this is something that has now been opened and cannot be closed. DeFi, despite the falling market values of DeFi coins and products, is not going away. Because what DeFi has brought to the cryptocurrency community, to this crypto economy, is something that cannot be put back. It is a change that when you look back on the history of cryptocurrency, you will see it is simply a split in time. There is before and after. And this change is quite simple, but it is also quite profound. What DeFi did was take previously stagnant assets and make them productive assets. It's a 0 to 1 moment that takes a sound economic asset and puts it to work in a brave new way. And for that reason, DeFi itself is an innovation, is a change in mentality that I believe will not go backwards. Whether or not the current stable of DeFi majors continues to dominate the market, whether or not DeFi itself continues to be a buzzword, the change in the mentality of crypto investors is clear as day to see. And for that reason, we have everything to look forward to when it comes to the future of DeFi, even if there are some short-term setbacks. Today, we're going to be going through a lot of critical information that I believe will better inform you about the next few months of this crypto industry's behavior. I believe that we are at the beginning of an amazing cycle. And as always, I'm going to be taking into account in my analysis macro factors that affect the entire economy because as crypto matures, it is becoming very much so a part of the larger economy. We're seeing that from a regulatory perspective, from a legal perspective, from an economic perspective, and of course, in the future, from a monetary theory perspective. We're going to be going through all of the above and even talking about some altcoins that I'm excited for as we come into this late Q4 2020 and look forward to what 2021 might bring. If you guys are excited for this episode, do me a favor, smash that like button. I see that we right now have 417 people in the house, just 164 lonely likes. If you guys can smash that like button, we can get more eyes on this content and we can all grow together. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. I'm going to hop into the chat and answer just a few questions before we dive into the meat of today's episode. Wow, it is just Kraft macaroni and cheese season is what it seems like. All I see is Kraft spam. I mean, what in the world is going on? What in the world is going on? Okay. So there is just one coin on everybody's mind, and apparently that coin is Kraft. Now, I should let you guys know I know very little about Kraft. I saw it getting spammed almost infinitely in my Telegram group, and for that reason, I did a little bit of digging. It does seem as though there are some red flags around Kraft. Maybe it's a good project, but it's already gone up, I think, about 10x today, if I'm correct. Thank you for the compliments. I appreciate it. I got a haircut. I'll make sure to keep getting it cut in the future. What gel do I use? I use like a little bit of just this like curl activator stuff because I got really curly hair. Yeah, it's WTF is Kraft is right. Another degen clone play, core clone play, I'm guessing is what they meant to say. Yeah, I would assume that those are kind of the flavor of the month. I don't want to say that I called the core clone army coming, but I did call the core clone army coming. Doesn't make me I don't have a crystal ball. It was just pretty obvious. Thanks everybody for smashing the likes. I hope you guys enjoyed this intro and I hope you guys are set up for a really nice live stream today. I believe very strongly in cycles. I've said this many times before. And once you're able to identify cycles, you're most likely going to have quite a bit of wiggle room to have good performance within those cycles. And that's why identifying cycles is so key. We had the DeFi cycle, we had the Polkadot cycle, we had the Oracle cycle. Now we're getting essentially this, I guess, echo boom of the YF clones. This is just like DeFi, but it's become more degenerate, I guess. I don't know. There's sort of a lot going on right now in crypto, and it seems like right now is a bit of a race to the bottom. That said, there are still gains to be had. It just feels very risky. Some of these coins, rather, I don't necessarily love discussing because they don't necessarily have as much true technology and team fundamentals, product fundamentals, as they do have that sort of dark magic of hype and excitement within the community. Oftentimes, the latter is the more important of the two, sadly, here in crypto. But I believe that there is a maturation happening in the market. Part of what happened over the last few months is we've never seen this rapid of clones and forks and copycats here in the crypto industry. And this is, of course, largely because everything is just a smart contract on ETH, and the ability to rapidly replicate smart contracts and get them listed on Uniswap. That's sort of an accessibility that we haven't seen before, and for that reason we've just seen this sort of hyper cycle. And so it's important to realize that whether or not your project is extremely individual and unique, and that they're bringing something tremendously innovative to the space, it's most likely that they will be copied almost immediately, and most likely that copycat might even improve some aspect of that project. So in some senses, this is very damaging to holders, as the ability to simply hold on to coins and watch them grow has been diminished. However, there's also this sort of rapid feedback loop happening within crypto where the iteration cycles are getting tighter and tighter and tighter, to the point where, hey, there very well might be a perfect model for a coin established in the near future. Obviously, that doesn't exist. There's no such thing as perfection, and nothing will last forever, because once something gets to a big enough size as a coin, essentially what happens is that size becomes its own blockade, and someone could literally just clone that individual coin at $1 billion market cap and then introduce it again at, a micro cap, and people would get their gains again. So seeing what's going on here, it's very rapid moving. There's still tons of gains to be had. Obviously, if you guys are here watching this here on October, what is it, the 9th right now, of 2020. Oh, it's the 11th. Sorry, guys. Here on the 11th, October 11th, 2020. If you're here right now, chances are that you're still rapidly moving between these coins, because you haven't been turned off by essentially the malaise of September and early October. But I do see some glimmers of hope, and one of the things that we're going to talk about is essentially that Bitcoin is showing that it wants more. And when Bitcoin wants more, it could be the foundation for this super cycle that we've all been looking forward to. So I'm going to hop into the window view, and we can look at a few different pieces of data. And essentially, we're going to talk, before we get into the altcoins, we're going to talk a little bit about what could happen during this election and what it would mean for essentially Bitcoin. And after that, we're going to talk about what it might mean for the altcoins. If you guys are excited and you have not yet turned that little thumb blue, do me a favor and smash that like button. So first and foremost, we have the report that more investors are hodling Bitcoin in anticipation of the 2021 bull market. And this should come as no surprise. We all know what happened the last cycle. It was amazing, glorious. We saw the run up from pretty much, I think the low in the bear market of 2014-15 was about $200, something like that. And it popped all the way up to 20,000, 100x if you judge from the absolute low to the absolute high, 20x from 1,000 all the way up to 20, 5x, of course, from the low of 200 up to that previous high. What matters to me is that, of course, we're getting this maturation of Bitcoin, because I see Bitcoin as sort of the rock. That's the value, right? If you look at all the cryptocurrency market caps, so much of that is Bitcoin. And for good reason, because we see in at least the DeFi world how quickly coins can get copied, cloned, and the value prop can kind of get siphoned. We can also see that there's a lot of hyperinflation of tokens. And so having something like Bitcoin, I think, is very healthy for the whole ecosystem. And, I think most people, DeFi heads, at least respect what Bitcoin brings. Now, when Bitcoin inflates in value, that also introduces a ton more liquidity to be put to work in things like DeFi. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, I highly doubt that this is a trend that reverses. This is not a trend, in my opinion, that can reverse, because once you go from 0 to 1 and say, hey, you can have the same exact assets, but in one world they're being put to work, in another world they're completely stagnant. Which world would you choose? I think that's a pretty simple and straightforward answer. You would choose the one that works for you. You want your money to work for you, and that's what DeFi offers on a scale previously not really seen. There were some lending rewards going on. You could get some kind of APYs in certain wallets. However, DeFi essentially took that whole ecosystem and exploded it, and you're getting probably the best value for your money with a lot of these projects. And that was what YFI tried to do. And now you're seeing other, the yield farming world is now essentially its own world within crypto. And I believe it will become one of the biggest financial instruments going forward, because what do people want more than anything in the world? Well, there's capital, and they want to figure out a way to use it. And yield farming is a great way to do it. And if anything, it might grow and mature into being one of the best ways to do it, though I think value investing is going to provide by far the biggest gains. So I'm seeing a lot of comment. It seems like there's a lot going on here. A lot of people talking about Axion, a lot of people talking about Craft. Thank you for the love on the Yoshi shirt. I think I missed a couple super chats. Rio DeFi is a competitor with BaiDao. I think that is, thank you for the super chat, by the way, Cam. I wouldn't say it like that. One's on Poco, one's on Binance Chain. We also have the Ghost win. Can you price predict for me Ghost and when you think it will go as high as Meme? I think it'll go as high as Meme. I think it's really hard to predict those things. Meme had like this kind of I think it was kind of lucky, the explosion that Meme had. It was based a lot on the DeFi hype, because you had celebrities of their own sort of status, like Andre Cronje, essentially pumping Meme. And then that was when things started to go really crazy. I obviously pumped it myself because I was really liking what they were doing. And as you guys know, I've been building my own video game for a long time, and so the idea of mining NFTs was actually already on our radar, and so seeing someone introduce it was nice. But I think that there was a little bit of a magic moment there. A lot of money was funneling out of other DeFi projects while things cooled, and looking for the sort of next thing, and this kind of checked all the boxes. So for that reason, I think that what happened to Meme might be hard to replicate with Avagache Ghost, but regardless, I think that my biggest problem with all of the current NFT projects, save for some of them like, the Axie Infinities and the Gods and Chains, is that they're not really useful. And I believe that the only NFTs that will truly have value within the next few years will be ones that are actually having utility within a video game. Because what's happening right now, my good friend BitBoy, for example, put out some really cool NFTs on Rarible, and within minutes, his NFTs were being, screenshotted and reposted, and essentially it's really hard in this world of decentralization to protect pixels on a screen. Again, that's part of the issue. Obviously, I believe there's a future for NFT art. I just think that there is a sort of undeniable utility when you can either use something in a video game or you can't. Now, I said this many, many times that essentially good games are the missing link here for the next wave of crypto. And I mean when you're trying to see millions and tens of millions of people enter the crypto ecosystem. However, there are tons of products that could bring people in the meantime. And I believe that this was just the first of, as we're seeing, a large sort of new wave of projects that are leveraging NFTs. But again, it's not easy to give an NFT value. It's not easy to produce an NFT of value. It's easy to produce something and make it scarce. It's very hard to give it true utility. And so I think that there's been a lot of R&D going on in the NFT world, but my hope is to see that mature with its combination with good video games. So that's my sort of working philosophy. But with this said, let's go ahead and check out what I want to talk about, which is, of course, there's something called reflexivity, which they're talking about in this article, which essentially means that people hold on to their coins even more so when the price goes up with Bitcoin, which is not the case with altcoins. If you guys have figured that out, gold star for you. People don't hold on to their altcoins when they move. When they they sell them, and that's because they're smart and they know that gains in altcoins, they move in and out of altcoins for the most part. There are altcoins that end up having amazing runs, but regardless, there's always going to be the next altcoin, whereas it's going to be hard. There's at this point no next Bitcoin, in my personal opinion, yet. And so this was a quote from Suzu, the CEO of Three Arrows Capital, and he's behind the futures exchange Deribit, and he's also been a really significant sort of investor trader in this industry. He said, Biden is extremely bullish for BTC because Democrat blue wave could usher in an unprecedented installation of modern monetary theory, MMT, agenda with corresponding dollar weakness and deficits. With that said, Trump is also bullish. So I wanted to cover this because there's sort of a belief here in crypto land that Trump good, everything else besides Trump is going to crash the markets. And I think that if you get a split where you had a Republican Senate, and by the way, before I go into this, I just want to say I'm not a left or a right-wing voter. I'm very much so not a member of either of the gangs. I don't care. I actually prefer to analyze each issue individually, and I encourage you guys to do so as well. I also don't watch mainstream news. I get all my news through, essentially proactive research. So I personally don't have an emotional outcome to this, and I think of things mostly in this particular light, which is looking at whatever news it is this meme? Is this good for Bitcoin? That's how I'm thinking of it. And so when I analyze things, I don't want to hear personally, I just kind of tune it out when people start getting very politicized on either side. I don't think that there is a clear definition of what will be good or bad for Bitcoin right now. In fact, I tend to agree with what Suzu said here, which is that if there is a blue wave, meaning that there's a complete sort of installation of Democrats across Senate, House, and presidency, that they're going to pass unprecedented levels of stimulus, and money printing will reach a level it's never reached before, which if you subscribe to the doctrine of essentially why Bitcoin is a sound Austrian economic theory, if you subscribe to the idea that essentially this is a hedge against inflation and that Bitcoin's growth will benefit DeFi, then in essence, I believe that situation, as well as essentially Trump, who a lot of people think are very good for markets, I think they're both bullish, right? So I think the main winner here is Bitcoin. And that's the beautiful thing, is that I think we always win in Bitcoin right now. The way that the economy is structured, it's so obvious that Bitcoin has benefits. And with Bitcoin, I believe we'll see a continuation of the explosive altcoin and DeFi world that we've come to know and love. It doesn't seem to be stopping because of what I said at the beginning of the episode. We've entered a new phase where people want their money to work for them. And the highest yields are going to come, at least passively, from DeFi. Whereas if you're looking back, you would want to be constantly jumping in and out of vaults, trading, whatever you want to do, or mining, for example. But I believe that DeFi's yields will eclipse those from passive standpoint. And of course, I'll be jumping between the DeFi altcoins, not only because it's good fun, but because the good ones are insanely beneficial to your portfolio. The bad ones, not so much. Okay. Gosh, you guys are still just talking about craft. So on that note, I wanted to talk a little bit about the election. So Biden is favored to win the election right now, according to 538, which, I find 538 to try to at least be as impartial as possible. I don't want to get into the weeds here, but we're seeing what I think of as the polling looks pretty in favor of Biden, but we've seen this before. We saw this in the last election, and so I wouldn't count anything out. I wouldn't count old Donnie Boy out. But this does seem to be sliding. I think when I first started looking at this, it was like 70% for Biden, whereas now it's at 86. I don't know. Feel free to disagree with me in the chats. Like I said, I don't have an opinion. I don't care. I only want Bitcoin to do well here. But it does look like the poll numbers are slightly favoring Biden right now. And then it also looks as though the Senate, which is currently, strongly controlled by the Republicans, that 13 out of 15 competitive races, according to this Market Watch article, 13 out of 15 competitive races are actually for GOP spots. So that would mean that essentially the GOP needs to hold on to 10 out of these 13 need to remain red for the Senate to remain red. And if that happens, essentially, I think there would be a lot of gridlock. I think the worst thing that could happen for this entire industry is to see the House remain blue, the presidency go blue, and then the Senate stay red. While people might disagree, I believe that would mean that essentially nothing gets passed, and that no monetary stimulus would happen, I believe that the economy might fall, and I think the crypto markets might fall with it. So that's my personal belief. That's just sort of what I think is going to happen. Again, I don't care about either party. In fact, I tend to disdain them both. I think that, what I'm looking for is what's going to be the effect on the markets. So that's just the way I'm approaching it, though I do believe that this is a very emotional and, a very inflammatory topic. So I try to stay away from politics. But I do believe that if a blue wave happens, that we'd get probably trillions and trillions of dollars of stimulus, almost an unfathomable, if I can say that word, amount of stimulus that would end up making its way into the crypto economy. Let me know what you guys think about that. I don't really want to go into this topic, but essentially, Hester Pierce saying that the SEC is going to have to give guidance, Ripple saying that they're going to leave. And so now I'll talk about some altcoins that I've been looking at. And, obviously everyone's talking about this Craft coin. Everyone wants me to talk about Craft, and they want me to talk about what was the other one that everyone's talking about right now? It's Craft. I don't know. To me, I don't know enough about it. They seem like extremely high-risk degen plays. And so, looking at what's going on right now, we're seeing a nice pump out of Ren. Obviously, you guys know I love this coin. Seeing it at 40 cents makes me extremely happy. And it shows to me that, the DeFi majors, they're not really going to go away, even in the weakening market condition. Also seeing coins like Fala, we covered this at about, 6-7 cents. And this thing absolutely, I told you I was buying it at 10 cents. And I'm really happy to see that it really just kind of hung out here at 10 cents and didn't really crash below that. Band's been holding strong. Kava, very strong. We're seeing, obviously I said Acropolis I was looking at 1 cent, and it's held above that pretty well. But yeah, then we're seeing a sort of crushing down at the lower side. XDAI stake, I think, is getting absolutely destroyed, which is good, because I believe that L2 scaling solutions are going to be a big part of when this crypto economy turns on its jets again. And so seeing XDAI come back to earth, when we know that this is one of the favorite scaling solutions, it's being backed by Aave. There's a lot of big major players. Vitalik likes it. And so seeing XDAI stake, let me just remove Nyan. Sorry, guys. Seeing XDAI stake on here getting almost brought down to earth, I don't think that's even a bad thing, right? I honestly like when good coins come down to earth if I think that they're going to go back up again. So XDAI stake, I think, could start becoming a really tasty, that is a tasty beverage. But synthetics also hanging around that sort of mid-July level. Thorchain, again, another one that I think all these projects are going to, do really well once we get that new lease on life here. So seeing these come down to earth, again, I believe as long as there's another monster stimulus coming, there's going to be a lot of gains to be had in these top DeFi sort of trending narrative topics, trending narrative coins. That said, I wanted to talk about a coin today called Hathor. Now, one of my most favorite sort of research companions. There's a couple of people who I talk to on a regular basis about research, and I've been getting shilled on Hathor now since like June. It's a really interesting project. The thing that makes it a bit annoying is that you can only get it through OTC on Discord. And so that's been the biggest hang up about it. But essentially, this is looking like a really solid piece of tech. I've been getting shilled on it by, a bunch of people that I trust. They have, it's got all the bells and whistles of scalability and usability. To me, it's about, adoption, but this one does seem to have a nice little groundswell of excitement around it. The biggest thing for me is that it's almost impossible to establish the market cap. So I don't know how big this thing is. It's really hard to figure out the circulating supply. But I thought I'd let you guys know that this is on my radar. Some people I really trust have been pushing me on it for months now, and it does feel like I've been noticing a bit of a groundswell of attention around it. Let me know if you guys are following Hathor, HTR. They've been doing okay of recent. They had a little pop up here from about 18 cents up to 30 cents or so. Not quite a 2x, but yeah, this is just something on my radar. Again, just thought I'd share with you guys coins that I'm looking at. We also had, where is this? So this is interesting to me as well. We all know how big Uniswap is, and here we have QuickSwap, which is Matic's answer to that. Now, as far as L2s, you have essentially the two leading L2s with the most sort of excitement and adoption to me are XDAI Stake and Matic, though there are others like Optimism and OMG. The reality is from what I can tell, I'm looking really heavily at Matic and XDAI Stake, though, of course, I'm following the entire scaling debate. I am just aware that this new QuickSwap project just hit, and yeah, they did from what I can tell, they did like a super fair launch on it. I don't have any coins yet. I don't know how many are out there. I think they're saving a lot for liquidity mining and stuff, but I just thought I'd share this. And then there's also this project, which is a bit of a micro cap. This is Therm. And Therm essentially is a cross-chain yield farming. And this one came as a shout out from Capo on Twitter, who's been hitting absolute home runs even during this crazy market condition. And yeah, this one looks like a sort of like high risk yield farming play, super high risk. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I got a couple of these tokens, and I got, it looks like they've had some code audits. It looks like their GitHub commits are coming in highly recommended from those who, I've seen some tweets essentially. Is this it? No. I clicked off the tweet where someone was analyzing the GitHub commits, but this one has about a $1 million market cap, super, super early. And who knows, maybe it'll do well. Again, with these sort of, I call them high risk plays, the yield farming plays, there's so many of them that they tend to get trendy for a second, and then they do tend to sort of, not necessarily hold on to gains. So if this thing does rocket up, I'll be taking profits, just like I explained to you on my new strategy video a couple of days back. Yeah, it's just so low liquidity and stuff. What else? What else do we have here? Yeah, I already talked about Fallon Network, XDAI Stake. Oh yeah, and this, right? So we had the Blue Kirby fallout. We had the fallout from the Blue Kirby essentially exit scamming. I don't know if you guys have been following that, but essentially they had this blue avatar that Andre Cronje, for some reason, was like obsessed with, Blue Kirby. I don't really know. I don't really follow like this sort of clique of Ethereum people, but I do kind of get the sort of tangential effect, which is essentially Andre Cronje, Udi Wertheimer, and Blue Kirby would have like this little friendship, this little camaraderie. And yeah, this guy Blue Kirby ran away with the bag, and now people are looking to sue Andre Cronje over the EMN Eminence hack. Now, I personally got back about maybe 1/3 of what I spent on Eminence after the hack. I don't really know. Personally, I think this is a little maybe a little much, but there's also something to be considered, which is the king YFI. A lot of this excitement and why YFI, despite having hundreds of clones doing the exact same thing, the reason why it continued to trudge up and make new highs upwards of $40,000, right, when everything else was crushing and getting completely decimated throughout September, I believe that has a lot to do with sort of the belief in Andre Cronje to just be that genius and to essentially just carry everyone to the promised land. And so since this Eminence hack, this EMN hack, and then since the sort of Blue Kirby exit, I just don't see the same sort of premium on Andre Cronje's stock. Now, I do think he's a genius. I don't want to take anything away from him. I think his contributions, we don't want to downplay them. But I just think being a sort of unemotional analyst here, I believe that there's been a little bit of a drop in that premium, the Andre Cronje premium, if you will. And so that's sort of how I'm analyzing it. And I believe that this kind of, probably for better, brings those kind of contributions down to earth. People will be more careful jumping into new projects, especially his test and prod projects. And then I also believe that this will open the door for other projects to improve upon the YF model. We saw Cores doing that. Core is also introducing a new ERC20 standard, very interesting. There's a lot of interesting things going on with Core and the clones there. And it's easy to write them off as just degen clones, but it's harder to dig in and find the innovation going on each one of these. I've done my own dissection of these. I'm not quite ready to share it yet, but I see ways that this model I see what they're trying to do, and I think there's ways to even improve this model. So I'll be bringing forward my own thoughts on what's going on with the sort of evolution from YFI to Core to the Core clones and what's going on with that model. So I think there's a lot of value I can share with you guys there. If you guys like that, do me a favor and smash that like button. Now I want to go, wow, there's some $20 super chats. Sorry I missed this. Would love to get your thoughts on Distix. Currently pumping, great platform, good looking team. Yeah, I've been getting shilled on this a lot. I'm not sure. It kind of, yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, it's a flexible token sale platform. Oh, yes, this was like a launch pad. Yeah, interesting. It's been around. I've been getting shilled on it a lot. Good for everyone who's in it. Was this you? Adrian DeLuce? Did you just comment your own project, dude? Okay, I get it. You're the founder. Congrats on your pumping. Good for you. It's okay. I've watched your content for months. I finally caught up to a live stream tip. Keep up the great content. Rio Maiden is coming up, but I'm between Rio and BID. I hold both. Keep up the good work. Cam. Thank you, Cam, for the $20 super chat. You absolutely rock. That kind of support really makes my day. The fact that you guys want to tip me here on live stream. I covered BiDAO right at the beginning, but I kind of steered away from it just from a gut feeling. But it does seem like they're delivering, and I hope everyone does well there. But I'm sort of just on a wait and see. I want to see where they go with their project, and I wish everyone with BiDAO tokens the best of luck. Rio seems to fit more into trending narratives, but I do think Binance Smart Chain DeFi is a solid narrative as well. It's just not as formalized as the Polkadot narrative. So I think they're both good. Honestly, Rio got kind of crushed off the bat, so I would say that BiDAO, from what I can tell, has been pumping. I haven't checked in on it in a minute, but yeah, we'll have to. I would say it's fair enough. The easy thing to do is just to split, right? Not to overcommit to either. Let me make sure I didn't miss any more of these. Oh, there's another one I missed. Adrian DeLuce, have I looked at Distix? Thank you so much for the double super chat. Guys, everyone, check out Distix. Let me know what you think about it. I'm not endorsing it. I did check it out. My biggest question is who's going to use you? Why would they use you? What advantages do you have over Trust Swap? And then there's other launchpad options out there. So, the biggest question is, how are you going to attract the good projects? But if you do attract good projects, then I would say it's good for the project, right? Have you looked into 0x167 ETH staking protocol? I think I've seen that before. 0x167 staking protocol. I think I have seen this one before. Okay. I'm not sure. I didn't really get any good results there, bud. Did I just not do? Needed to add that. Okay, not many results here, bud. And then click back off that. I'm bullish on XDAI too. What's your opinion on X Finance as a holistic ecosystem? So I like XFI. They're doing what I consider to be a kind of dangerous approach, which is introducing too many tokens. And you saw here that they essentially announced that their core tokenomics were about to go into effect. And they announced, so they had this huge run up, obviously, this run up to 800. I was covering it. I called XFI here at about $100, and I wrote it up. And right when I saw this, so just to give you guys a mindset of how I'm viewing some of these projects are, yes, you can hold them, keep holding them, but when something goes, essentially here is where I went into Nyan, Rotten, and XFI. And Nyan and Rot kind of fell down, 20, 30%, whereas this one went up literally like 1,300% from $60 all the way up to 800 pretty much. And so when I saw it continually make these new highs, get beat down, and then make these new highs, and then I saw it take this turn right here on October 6th. I saw it come down off 800, where I was like literally in disbelief it hit that much. I saw it bounce up, come to 700, and then I saw it start getting rejected again, and I realized that this was now officially a lower high. And so it was a clear enough lower high to me where it didn't even hit this 720 right here. It was just at 704, so it missed this one. Definitely didn't hit the 800 or 790 range, and it started to come here, and so I sold everything right here just around 700. That was how I was like, all right, I think this thing's going to come back down, and it came all the way down to 300. I think it was a great trade from mine, but it's just about understanding the motion of the ocean. Then they said they had their core audit done. They had their new tokenomics audit done right here, and it pops back up, but then they realized they were introducing a new token. And so people sort of realized that this wasn't necessarily all going to benefit XFI, and then they sold again. That's what happened with this little thing. I'm going to be doing more research. If you guys want to see it, I'm going to be doing more research, and I'll do more research into all their tokenomics and how they play and give you my feedback. But, you know, I kind of had a great run on XFI, so I have a theory. It's don't chase winners and make them losers, right? You don't want to chase after your good trades and make them bad trades. So if you've made like a 10x or like an 8x or whatever, like that's awesome. Good for you. Big high five, and don't ruin it. What's your opinion on, nope, I just read that one. NFY 900 ETH pre-sale, liquidity locked, 1.5 year NFT plus DeFi, first of its kind. What is this? NFY? Oh gosh. NFY.finance or something? Not sure what that is. PancakeSwap. Yes, more food coins. That's what we need. Darwinia Ring. I hope they come back strong. I believe they will. Full bullish on XDAI. Me as well. I mean, let's see if we can buy the bottom on XDAI. That would be absolute clout. Absolute clout. Oh, I'm really high up here. Let me catch back up with the chats. Okay, we got QWF tipping me 1900 CLPs. Thank you so much. Not even sure what that is, but thank you. Excuse me. Which way to Rex City? Hopefully not this way. So I did check out Brain. It's core plus meme. It's, again, interesting. I think this was a really obvious move, is to take the core tokenomics and then add the meme sort of NFT mining. Again, guys, the problem is when you can screenshot an NFT, how valuable is it, right? Or it can be plagiarized. I'm not saying that NFT art is not a thing. I'm just saying that currently in its form, it's really nascent, and you're seeing the problems. You're seeing people get wrecked on it. BitBoy's had a problem with it. There's no community management by Rarible. I think Rarible is doing a really bad job at enforcing originality and ownership, and it sort of just calls into question larger questions about decentralization and if we really should have enforcement over what kind of NFTs you can post, or is that not really decentralization? All right. Come on, Elio. We all know you're a secret Axion bag holder. So what I do like about Axion is it's a less greedy tokenomic structure to the one that Hex introduced. But as you guys know, tokenomics projects to me are just that. If you can copy and paste the tokenomics, then you can't protect your community. And that's my biggest thing, is just adding even one utility that another project could use, or that a product. That is what I want to see. Just try to be innovative. One innovation. Like, take that tokenomic structure and give it one use case. Like, please, guys. Like, I don't know why I have to say this so many times, but yeah, this whole like design to pump thing bothers me because it's false. When something's designed to pump, people can take it, copy, paste it, change one variable, and make it slightly more designed to pump. And then all of a sudden the original idea becomes degraded. And so that's my biggest problem with that whole family of coins. And there's many of them that don't need to be named here. You've probably seen them throughout the last few months. And that's my biggest problem, is that I want to see one product. I want to see one use case. Make the actual software, make the innovation, and then put the craziest tokenomics on it. And then I'll say, you know what? Maybe this thing is designed to pump. Any thoughts on Easy? So I bought into Easy. I haven't checked it in a couple of days. I think it dumped on me. Let's see. How bad did it get? Not too bad. I think I bought in at about $2. So I'm down about 20% here. Or, yeah, 20% here. Maybe a little less. I guess 15%. But yeah, this one looks good. It's a DeFi on Matic, gasless DeFi on Matic. Again, I'm personally a believer that when you have an ideologically sound concept like layer 2 DeFi, cross-chain DeFi, you know that there's going to be a million copycats. So it's not about being right. It's about just diversifying and betting on the whole category, which is why I'm diversified across Matic and XDAI Stake, as well as Polkadot, as well as even some, EOS DeFi stuff. And, as much as it pains me to say, there's even other chains that I would consider. But to me, it's more about waiting for congestion to come in before seeing like the EOSs and other chains. I still think that even in the sort of near term, you could see a big shift towards L2 DeFi or cross-chain DeFi. I think Polka DeFi could be really big, though Polkadot's becoming sort of like an overused hype word. It seems like, the stock in Polkadot projects is getting diluted quite a bit. Thanks for your informative information. Thank you, Cam, for the super chat. $10, you rock. This project BAB is high risk, high reward, and if the CEO deliver, the product could be great. BAB app itself, nice. No shout out needed for this. Well, shout out gotten, Cam. I can't read in my head. I just can't do that. Do you hold Band? What are your thoughts on compared to Link? So one of the things I want to explain is that true decentralization requires, in my opinion, multiple oracles. So no matter how amazing Chainlink is, I believe that it would be beneficial to have multiple successful oracles. And speaking of that, let's take a look at TRB, because Telor has had a really nice week, bouncing off their lows of about $13. Obviously, they had their big run up, but then they bounced off their lows here of about $14, and they made their way all the way up here to about 25. That's a really solid gain there. Not quite a 2x, but almost 100% growth if you caught the knife. I personally am bullish on Telor. I think that its market cap of just 33 million, especially when it was down here, at about, what was this? Literally 20 million for Telor, for like probably the most decentralized oracle. I'm also bullish on Band. Really, really solid project Band. I personally don't want to choose between them. I'm also bullish on Dia. So Dia, Band, Telor, they're all good. I wish them all a tremendous amount of success, and I'm holding them all, so I'm betting on the category, guys. So people asking me about XBTC. I see Jeff is the advisor, and I'm a big fan. I think Jeff does, has good mind for crypto. I've been a little burned on the elastic supply stuff. Had a nice run with Ample, had it turn on me. Called, I think, an amazing call to GTFO of Ample because there were so many clones, copycats, that the actual tokenomics weren't useful or weren't in and of themselves valuable. And this is why I keep coming back to this concept, just so you guys know. Even if the tokenomics are just insane and the project's pumping like mad, that's usually a gift from the market. Take it, because if something's pumping super hard, another project is going to copy paste it, and there goes at least a portion of that community. The buying pressure is going to get siphoned. It's something that we've seen happen at light speed over the last few months, and that's why I criticize projects that are just pure tokenomics. People hate me for it. Those communities hate me for it, but I take that as a badge of honor, because guess what? That's the facts. I'm not making up the facts. You're entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. All right. Excuse me, which Raider X City? That comment needs another like. What else do we got here? Safe 2. Safe 2 is interesting. I don't own any. Very interesting, though. Again, this is part of the Andre Cronje sort of stock, so I don't know if this is going to ebb and flow with Andre Cronje. Thoughts on coin? Don't know about it. Looks like Ren is gearing up to break through 50 cents. Thanks, JPal. Long time no see. Big follower of the channel forever. Thank you. Yeah, so there's a lot of BDAO BuyDAO fanboys in the chat. I hope things pop off for you guys. I think Binance DeFi is definitely a nascent area. CZ is just not a loser. He delivers, and I believe that it's on his list of to-dos to deliver with DeFi. He's not going to sleep until he does it. Phantom, again, love Phantom. I do worry that Phantom might have also been banking a little off the Andre Cronje name. I like Andre Cronje, but I also worry that what's happened to the hype around him has subsided. I'm just an analyst, guys. If you guys haven't figured this out, I try to remove my own biases as much as possible. The only thing I won't remove is my belief that video games are the future big wave for crypto, just because a lot of things. I've explained them many times. But as far as biases within DeFi, I believe that it's important to check your biases and to constantly question them. And so that's what I do. And I'm not trying to be anti-Andre. I'm just trying to bring up the real sort of the reality of what happened to me, which is seeing this guy as sort of a larger than life figure, and then seeing him kind of being brought down to earth. And so that's just sort of my feeling on it. Remember that getting to trade on Phantom requires a bridge process as well. All of the bridges to L2s, all of the bridges to interchain, all of the bridges and wrapped coins for synthetic trading, it's all a jump and a departure from the current experience that I believe has the potential to essentially degrade. People will drop off. If there's as you make products, and I've been in this business now for over a decade, one of the sort of common core ideas here is the funnel, right? Where you have everybody who sees your product or can possibly access it at the top of the funnel, the widest amount of people. Then, whoever clicks through the website, gets less. Then the amount of people who actually try to sign up gets less. The people who actually put in their email gets less. The people who actually then, confirm their email, the people who actually get fully registered and pay, there's drop off at every step. And so something like a DeFi product where you're essentially having someone send their coins, then add move to another chain. Maybe they need to use a different wallet. Maybe they need to set up that wallet and store the key, the backup phrase. All of those steps are steps in the funnel, and you get drop off. And so it's just important to realize that Uniswap works because of its simplicity. And so, as much as all these things are tasty and I think they could pump in the short term, it's important to realize that ETH scaling is really going to be the best experience possible. Ren. You guys know I love my Ren. Yeah, so people are calling things gaming DeFi right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a hater here. I'm maybe a little bit of an elitist because I spent 2.5 years building a video game before putting a project out, and everyone's just using emojis and putting projects out. So I tend to kind of like have a mega eye roll at that stuff. But I do like the space, and I like that people are experimenting with the space. They're giving me ideas, and to me, it's all good because, there's when you're a product designer, you should never be scared of there being competition or clones, because if you're the best, you'll make that clear with your product. Where is this Bill Gates iPad? Yes, this. So there's this image. Let me see if this is clear. So there's this image over here. Let me mute this site just in case it has audio. So in 2002, Bill Gates introduced the tablet PC. No one cares. 2010, Steve Jobs introduces the iPad. The world pisses itself like an excited dog. 2012, Steve Ballmer introduces the Surface. People claim they stole the idea from Apple. This is how it goes. If you make your product better than other people, if you make your product your way, it doesn't matter if this other one's been around for 8 years, you will take the market. And I believe that strong innovators and strong entrepreneurs will always, the cream will rise. And so when I see other people playing around in this ecosystem, it makes me excited. I also know that the way I'm looking to design my products, it'll be different. And that, on the whole, competition and choice is good for the entire industry. But yeah, that's sort of how I view things. Is I love what's going on in the sort of NFT DeFi space, though I consider it completely tinkering right now. It's all just tinkering. It's proof of concepts. There's nothing that I see very long lasting. It's all just, here's kind of smashing together two buzzwords like these people, Brain, who are like, we're going to do meme plus core. It's like almost like a Transformer Legos thing where you're just smashing ideas together. And some of those might work really well. But again, my biggest thing is, why does the NFT have value? Where's the value? And to me, the only thing I really see working, at least in the short term, are NFTs that are usable within games. Because those are that's something you can't fake, right? An image I can steal, a video I can steal. Whereas actually being able to use that item within a video game, I can't steal that, because if it's not the authentic item, it won't be validated and my account won't be granted that item within the game. As far as NFTs being used for things like housing purchases or whatever, I think that's great, but code is law is sort of the expression we use here in crypto, but the problem is that the law isn't the code. And so until we get some sort of more external sort of maybe legal frameworks for when someone possesses an NFT, what is like the legal consequence, and then maybe like an actual fulfillment mechanism so that, hey, if I rent an NFT for a house, there's some really automated way for me to get the key to open the house and use it. Those types of things are just, to me, not developed yet. So the video game aspect to me is phase 1, maybe phase 1, 2, and 3. And then down the road, I could see physical items and real world assets being a little bit more used. But for now, I think video games is the number one. Energy Web's very cool. What do you think about MyBit? MyBit. I'm not actually sure about MyBit. Not actually sure. Refining the way people generate income. It's a solar farm in Italy. And you're essentially... So you're investing in a solar farm in Italy. Yeah, interesting. Interesting stuff. Lots of questions. Lots of counterparty risk, lots of systems that I need to understand. But so part of this is it looks cool. And if you guys know me, I'm actually big on renewable energy. I think that that's one of the core issues that I think is most important for the next sort of phase of our evolution, politically, societally. I'm a big believer that we need to worry about climate change. So these types of things, I believe, I want to see them fixed from a capitalist perspective. This is not a kumbaya thing. Let's give the financial incentives to move to a different energy system. But for me, I love this. However, I've also seen sort of things like this. Hey, cloud mining, cloud this. This is sort of like cloud solar farming, right? Solar energy farming that we do for you and you just invest. And so that's kind of my tickling suspicion is I've seen some scams sort of wrapped up like this. So I would say that I need to do a lot more research. But on paper, the idea is cool. Uni in long term, I think, yeah. Why would you not want to hold on to Uniswap? This thing is the most popular D-app of all time. Elio, check out Chain Games and their Super Crypto Kart game. Playing Super Mario Kart style racing for Chain Games tokens against your friends. Thank you, Adamar. I'm actually was a pre-sale investor. I hold a lot of trust swaps, so I tend to get in on their projects. And yeah, I got in on them. I think that they are doing nice proof of concepts. Obviously, with the gaming betting thing, I think that that's interesting. I think that's certainly appealing to some people. There are definitely other players that allow for you to do wagers and stuff like that. It's an interesting market landscape. There's a lot of interesting ideas there, and I wish them the best. And I'm curious to see how they develop. But I just think that right now, they're doing a lot of the right things, but there was also a lot of other factors to consider. So I hope they do well, and I'm curious, and I'm watching them. I hold a little bit of Chain, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I believe in gaming. I think the best thing they did was create their own game, but there's also a lot of competition in the sort of racing game arena. I commend them, though, for doing the game. That's the hardest part. People don't realize how hard games are, so good for them. Do you think so many Uniswap projects, other bigger beneficial projects, getting less attention? Yes, correct, completely. So we're in a degen market right now, guys. I've said it. We're in a degen market because the big money has not cycled, right? So the big money cycles into bigger projects. But right now in this sort of degenerative market, we're seeing, things are pumping from like 500K market cap through 5 million market cap. Even 5 million market cap is pretty big for this market, which is really risky, guys. It's really risky that we have to go that low to get gains. And so just understand that almost everything I see in the market is a high risk play. They're short-term holds. If you get big pops off of them, say thank you. Thank you, Satoshi. Have I checked? Whoa. Yeah, so wrapped original Axie. Whoa, very cool idea here. And so wrapped original Axie. And so what this was all about, and, I'm a fan of Axie Infinity, and actually, no, I can't say that yet. There's some connections to people who are connected to them. But as far as Whoa, what they're doing is essentially these common Axies are all worth, so the sort of common Axie Infinity collectibles are all worth essentially like the same. And so instead of having this fluctuating market when almost all of them trade for almost the exact same value, they figured, let's just wrap them in a generic token and allow for this new type of liquidity so that you could have just sort of like a wrapped token market. And I think that's really just an interesting concept. It's very much so, like I said, this is just very, very experimental and new. And so it's hard for me to say what's going to happen with WoW. I'm not saying that I'm invested in it. I don't hold any WoW. I do have a bunch of Axies from back in the day because I definitely aped into all of these collectibles. Just something I believe is going to be, some of these are going to go up in value. Maybe none of them in this first generation, but that's kind of why I dabble in the NFT space. But this is interesting because it actually has utility within a video game, albeit a simple game. Good for them for pushing the innovation aspect here. So that's what I'll say about whoa. How do I feel about unstoppable domains? What is the probability of broad adoption? So I have a couple unstoppable domains myself. The problem is my original name for the channel was FUD TV. It was kind of like a meme. But I actually really believe that unstoppable domains, that there's something there. Here, I'll go ahead and link. I have like a, what do you call it? I have a referral link that I'll throw in here. I believe in it, guys. I believe in it. If you guys want to check out unstoppable domains, I just threw my referral link in here. I think that some of these links might be worth a lot. The idea of a domain that can't be shut down, that runs off blockchain, is super exciting to me. So whether or not this thing actually ends up going mainstream, I think it's sort of like picking up websites back in the 90s. There might be many, many blockchains. So remember that .crypto, that ETH, that ZIL or whatever, maybe that there's a lot of different competitors there. So maybe there's a lot of sort of, what's it called, inflation in the supply, because there's going to be a lot of different extensions. But the concepts are there. There's something, of like, I think especially some of the less savory, the more underground businesses around, those industries. Anyway, some of those domain names are going for a lot of money. And so I think that whether it's a fad, whether it goes mainstream, I think that there's a market here that makes sense. So getting some highly speculating on them, I think is worth speculating on. So we'll see we'll see if history views that judgment kindly. Have you checked out ZilSwap from Zilliqa and the new governance token that will be airdropped? Simply trying out the swap tool. I have not, but apparently ZilSwap, guys, is giving out free money. Thoughts on Koval and Rack? So Rack that's the community token from the artist. I actually used to follow Rack. I used to be a producer myself, making sort of similar music, and so I'm a fan of Rack. And I honestly have considered making community token as well. A lot of people want me to review certain projects. They want me to essentially take my time and allocate it to certain things. And I think that having a community token to vote on those things would make sense. I wouldn't want to sell it or anything. I'd want to just sort of experiment with it as a form of interacting with the community, especially as this community's gotten so crazy big. We're at almost 90,000 subscribers. Thanks to everyone for that as well. If you guys aren't subscribed, I encourage you to hit that sub button and click that little bell notification. If you haven't put the bell on, guys, you want to put the bell on and press all, or else, YouTube's been shadow banning and censoring content left, right, and center. Without that bell, I think it's highly likely that you might miss the content or not actually get to it in time. So I appreciate it if you guys do put the bell on. So yeah, for Mamba, go Lakers. Amen, brother. Amen. Let's take this ship home. I'm actually a little worried because I think that the whole city's going to go up in flames if that does happen. But yeah, good for everyone. So I don't know what's going on. Is it a coincidence that literally one coin gets thrown out and then for 2 minutes, all that anybody says is that coin's name? Are people trolling each other, or is everyone obsessed with Cypherium? I don't get it. You guys let me know in the chat. Is this a troll? But at any rate, thoughts on Filecoin? I mean, it's 3 years old and they did a $200 million ICO. So I don't know what to say, guys. It's a big project, could have big returns. That's not my investing strategy. I don't buy into the Titanics. If I was going to buy into something super big, I'd just buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. Alrighty. What else we got here, guys? Lol, influencers will buy massive amounts of those tokens to vote for their coins. Oh, if you're talking about community tokens, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Just want your opinion. Cypherium. I don't have an opinion on Cypherium, guys. I don't know. Wow, 950, you guys. I just want to say thank you so much for keeping me company. It's been a really great stream. We're coming up on an hour. Haven't seen a lot of sort of new topics. But let me know if you guys want me to cover anything. You guys let me know. Yeah, I did notice the thousands of Cypherium comments. Thank you. So I am still bullish on Parsec because I know their tech, I know their team, but I do think they have some cleanup to do because I have a lot of people who are upset about the way that they handled the post-hack stuff. Some people actually really close to me bought the dip because they've been following the channel. And what can I say? You know, like I like the tech, but you know, you got to manage the community. And so I'm hoping that we can get some kind of resolution for the people who bought the dip after the hack. I think that would be very positive for the project. But regardless, they provide a very good service to the crypto community. And I hope to see their project go on to prosper. But I do want to see them try to accommodate the people who bought post-hack because those people got hosed. So what's my confidence in trust swaps shaken by their platform being used to promote a scam? I did like a 20-minute breakdown on my thoughts about that. And my hope is that out of it will emerge a stronger, better project. But I think that it was not great for them, what happened, but I don't think it was I think they have plenty of opportunity to rectify. So that's what I'll say. Love your lives, Elio. Thank you, Annie. Shroom Hodl. Yeah, like I said, I like all the NFT stuff, but I want to see more NFTs that have utility. Any plans tonight? Yes, I do have plans tonight. ETH bear short term? Hope not. Hope not. I hope ETH and Bitcoin have great short terms. Thoughts on Ziotree and their growing DeFi ecosystem. Keep hearing about Ziotree. There's a bunch of different tokens, I think, within it, but they're doing some core stuff. They're doing some DeFi stuff. It's maybe like a bit of a comparable to XFI, maybe. I don't know enough about it, but people I like have been talking about it. People I like, they're talking about it. You're welcome, Linda. Holding Ren long term to sell around 0.5. I don't know if that's long term. That could happen soon. I personally, what I like about Ren is you're investing in the channel, right? If you guys know Europe, there's the tunnel between England and France. Very common trip there, and there's like one sort of means of getting across there. There's also you can take the train, and so it's like investing in the train that goes between two really popular destinations. And so you can set up a dark node and get paid fees off of people wrapping their Bitcoin or unwrapping their Bitcoin. I think more people are gonna be wrapping than unwrapping over the foreseeable future. But yeah, I'm excited for Ren. I'm very positive, right? Seeing it pop up again makes me happy. Wow, talk about ignoring Lend. I'm not ignoring Lend. Well, anyway, guys, this has been really awesome. I hope everyone's having an amazing weekend. I believe that the next few months are going to be interesting. I think that there's a huge possibility we get a monstrous stimulus. I think that in the climate that we're in, the opportunities out there in crypto land, they seem like they're disappearing, but it could be some of the best opportunities. And that's why I've been so optimistic throughout this phase, is that the economy's broken. It needs more stimulus. And with that stimulus, I think we're going to get a really big pop here. And of course, if this is anything like 2017, 2021 might be a life-changing year in crypto. I remain eternally optimistic, and I'll be here keeping you guys updated as to what I think about the minutia, the DeFi projects, the high-risk plays, the fundamental plays, and everything in between. And if that's of value to you guys, I highly encourage you guys to subscribe and put that bell notification on. I feel blessed to have such an amazing community, over 1,000 of you guys hanging out with me live. If you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to help me out, and it's great for the YouTube algorithm. them. If you want to connect with me personally, feel free to follow me on Telegram and Twitter. I'll be posting those in the description of this video. They're not quite there yet, but they will be at Elio Trades on both Telegram and Twitter, and t.me/ElioTradesCrypto. That's my Telegram group. As usual, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Elio Trades, and I will see you very soon on the next episode.